Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back with some league racing action here today, and we arrive for round 4 of the GASR series, this time at Monza. My last race at Zandvoort, managed to take the win after penalties, after having a pretty bad qualifying, and we closed the gap on the championship. There's 19 rounds to go, so plenty of time. You can see the standings here, and going into this one, Monza is normally a track that I actually thoroughly enjoy, but you'll see throughout this qualifying session, and kind of really the main theme of qualifying throughout this entire season, but especially here, I was really struggling with the qualifying. So you can see
2 tenths away after that. Felt like such a good lap.
And you can just hear me say there, felt like I did a really good lap, but we are still 2 tenths away. But it's only Q1, so making sure we just get through to Q3. You can see it start Q2 here. It was actually starting to rain, so we needed to get out ASAP. And you can see I'll be doing a bit of a Verstappen, just trying to get ahead of as many cars as possible, because you want to be one of the first cars to cross the line, because the track is getting wetter and wetter all the time. So making sure we get a lap on the board. But yeah, in this qualifying, as I mentioned in my last video, very similar to Zandvoort as well, feel like I'm actually driving quite good laps, and you know, it could be the setup, it could be the equal car, this Ferrari, but as you'll see throughout the race of this video, I don't think there was any issue with the setup at all. And I think the way I was driving, if I was driving like this on 23, 22, or maybe even 21, I think the pace would be really good. But you'll see in Q2 we managed to get through, so we did what we needed to do. But going to Q3, I was just hoping to get into the top 5. If I can start the top 5, I always feel I have a very good chance of putting myself at least in contention for the race win. So this is my Q3 lap, and honestly, looking back at this lap, I don't think there was really much more I could do. I think through Ascari, I could definitely be taking a lot of time through there, but this first sector, I felt was pretty much perfect for me. Couldn't have got a better first sector. Running quite low on the downforce. I think I was definitely lower on the downforce compared to other people around me, and you will see that in the race. But overall, you'll see the gap between myself and pole. You see Carl's on 18.6, that's my championship rival. And my PB was an 18.6, but that was in Grand Prix mode. Online, it was like an 18.8, and that felt like a complete perfect lap, complete perfection. And go through so far on this lap here, I honestly don't think there's really too much wrong. I think through Ascari, this section, I could definitely gain maybe like a 10th and a half going through here. So you see, just making sure we get through the corner. You see, we could have probably carried a lot more speed through there, but I would say that's probably a 10th and a half. You'll see by the end of this lap in the comments I make, I was actually quite concerned of where this time actually was. And yeah, I think a lot of this is just down to my driving style. You have to be really snapping the car, throwing the car in the qualifying. And you see as you cross the line,
P8, what the fuck, man?
yeah. And that actually turns into P9. So we were the slowest car.
4 tenths down.
Well, I think the guy in the Red Bull did do a lap, but yeah, we were the second slowest car in Q3, 4 tenths away from pole. Yeah, I do believe this is probably just down to my driving style. I drive very smoothly. If you watch people like Barry Boromund, and even the guy who did the pole up here, really have to snap in the steering wheel. So we're starting P9 in this race, not ideal. I decided to go on the hard tyre. This is a strategy I was actually going to be doing anyway, even if I got pole. So as the 5 lights go out, right here now is just to make sure I'm in this lead DRS train on these hard tyres. You can see we've really lost the position to the Red Bull who was on the mediums. There wasn't too many other people who actually went on the hards, which I was actually quite surprised with. I did quite a bit of race running before this race, and I was practicing with Carl and the other championship contenders, and my race pace was extremely good, but the qualifying pace, again, I think it's just because I'm not aggressive enough with the steering. You really need to be snapping the steering in, especially for the low speed corners. You really need to be forcing the car into the corner. So the qualifying is definitely something I have to work on. But after 4 laps into the race, I felt like my pace was really really strong here. So I decided to take a bit of a gamble, and you're about to see the straight line speed I have with my setup. You can see there's 1, 2, and then we're going to be overtaking 3 cars down the straight. So going from P10 into P7, you can see the lead trains right here. No one in front of me is on the hard tyre, and I think the next hard tyre runner is in like P10, P11 or something like that. So we are in a very good position, and I just felt my race pace. This is probably one of the best I've driven in a league race for the last 2 years, I would say. Just the pace here, I was feeling extremely comfortable, and you could just see visibly closing in on the guys up ahead. So we're going to use the ERS once again, hoping that Invincible doesn't fight this too much, and once we get alongside, we turn off that overtake, and now we're up into P6. And again, this is exactly where I want to be, and I was quite shocked of how strong we were during this race here, and we've put ourselves in a very, very good position. So right here now, I don't need to be doing anything frantic. If I can get as far off as possible before the pit stops, the stronger it's going to be. Normally when you're in your alternate strategy, you're not expecting to be leading going into your own pit stops or when the other guys pit around you. So if I could get into the lead or make as many positions as possible here, then I can put on a set of mediums to the end of the race, and even though I'll be undercutted, the pace of those mediums and the freshness of my tyres should be putting me in a really, really good position. So right here now, not doing anything too crazy, and I think just for this first stint, I just drove very, very intelligently, making sure I did overtakes I knew that I could do. See Carl and Nick going side by side, so I anticipated this, trying to get a bit of a switchback on the exit. The Williams is fighting it on my inside, so he's using the overtake, and we're just going to leave him some room on the inside. He decides to back out of it, and now we're into P5, right behind the championship leader, my main championship rival, Carl 24. And I was thinking right now, lap 7 in the race, we're in P5. I feel like I'm faster than the guys ahead of me. Really, this is my race to lose. We're in a very, very strong position, so we're going to keep attacking. With the low downforce setup, I was able to save the ERS quite well, so gaining on the McLaren up ahead, deciding to turn it off, so trying to force him to use his battery, force him to overtake, look for the space on the outside, go into that space, and then we're going to get the inside for turn 2. And right now I felt like this is where the hard tyres were starting to take over, leaving a bit of room on the inside, and now we're into P4, overtaking my championship rival, and now we're behind the top 3. This was going very, very well so far. So moving on to lap 9 of this race, you can see we've almost got a full bar of the battery as well. Carl's a little bit behind, so no pressure from behind. You can see the grip we have, so the setup is working exceptionally well in this race. If someone actually decides to pit, so that's actually quite an early pit stop, which again is in my favour. And by forcing myself into the lead, you can see we've overtaken 2 cars now. The straight line speed is very, very strong. We've gone from P10 to P1 in 10 laps in this race, and because now I'm in the lead of this race, that's actually going to force some of the medium runners, like you just saw there, to actually pit early. And yeah, I couldn't have wished for the better first thing. You can see Carl, I don't think he's pitting, I think there's someone else who's decided to pit there, so these guys pitting early. My plan was to go to around that 17, 18, so I had that 10 laps on the mediums. They would already have about 6 to 7 laps on those hard tyres. I felt like that would be enough of a difference while I'd still have the fastest tyre towards the end of the race. So right here now, I'm just trying to reduce the amount of time loss as possible. So I'm just trading positions with Light, who I believe is probably the fastest guy in qualifying on raw pace in this league. So by dragging each other along, we're minimising how much we're losing to the guys on the undercuts. You can see we're doing a 22-0, so almost still doing our PB on lap 13. The guys who pitted for the hards, they're probably doing mid to low 21s right now, so we're just dragging each other along, just really kind of working together at this stage, so not trying to cost each other any time whatsoever, just slipstream past each other. So you can see he's probably going to stay to the right hand side, allows me to have the racing line, and kind of like what you do in karting where you're just bump drafting each other. That's effectively what we're doing here. So again, this is really working in my favour, and plus it shows how long the mediums can actually go. So because the DRS is so powerful and the slipstream is so powerful in this game, he's able to stay with me. And you can see here Carl has now decided to pit And this is the point where the mediums are really starting to go off. So again, this was giving me so much confidence for my last stint. And because Light is staying out as well, even if he gets a little bit of an undercut on me, I can kind of use him to get myself back through the field if I needed to. So moving on to lap 16 now, most people have pitted, still trading positions with Light. And again, this is just working out absolutely perfectly for me. And yeah, we're just going to go probably a lap longer than whatever the Sauber here does, just so I have the freshest tyres coming towards the end of the race. But I think even if I pitted now, I'd probably have the freshest tyres coming towards the end of the race. So we'll just continue on here. Maxi Schumacher has retired and the safety car has come out. And this is actually really, really good timing as well. The only downside is that I'm not in the lead here, but yeah, this is perfect because now I'm going to go on the mediums and Light up ahead of me. He either has to go on the hards or he has to go on the softs. And I think if he goes on the softs, they will still make it to the end of the race. But I think my mediums are going to be in better shape. So that pretty much came out at a perfect time. I have brand new mediums as well. And yeah, this is working in my favour exactly the way that I will want it. Because everyone behind me who's already pitted, they've decided to pretty much stay out. I think a lot of people haven't gone in the pits because they know they'd lose track position. So we're going to have the freshest tyres, probably the best tyre compound to be on towards the end of the race as well. And you can see Light has actually gone on soft, so I think he knew he had no real choice. Kind of like what I did at Spain. If he put on the hard tyres, I think he would probably be swallowed up by everyone behind quite quickly. And there's only 8 laps or now 7 laps of this race here to go. So he's decided to go for a little bit of a gamble. So really important that I stay with him in this DRS zone because I don't think the detection comes on for a few laps after there's been a safety car. So this is his only opportunity to probably win this race, is to break out of my DRS and just hopefully I get in battles with the guys behind. So you can see here he's trying to push as much as possible. I watched his on board and he was using all of his battery at this point. So I knew I had a fast car in the straight line. So go through into here, using a little bit of the battery, but not too much. He's using all of his battery at this point. You can see the gap is going up towards 0.8 of a second. But at this point, he's pretty much ran out of his deployment, ran out of his battery. And you're about to see the gap is going to come down quite quickly with our straight line speed. And yeah, you can see that gap is coming down really, really quick. So he's ran out of deployment completely, making sure we do a good Ascari here. And he's made a little mistake going through the Ascari as well. Get back in the slipstream. And I knew at this point, his opportunity to break up my DRS has pretty much gone, because every lap from now onwards, my tyres are probably going to be the faster tyre. And you can see lap 22, we're really hounding him. We've actually broken the DRS of the guys behind. So kind of like the first stint, I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose or cost each other too much time here. So I want to make sure it's a 2-horse fight for the race win rather than a 3 or 4 horse fight, because I don't want to be 3rd or 4th man in the DRS train. So I'm making sure we are out of the DRS zone of the guys behind me. You can see Carl has come up into P3 on the hards, which the hard tyres will be a decent tyre, as I knew from the first stint. So I really wanted to make sure that he didn't get within our DRS zone. But I think Light here knew that he needed to kind of make it a 3 or 4 man a DRS train if there's any opportunity to win, because I think 1v1 against me with the medium tyres, he's going to be fighting a bit of a losing battle. And because he started to slow down, Carl has actually started to catch us and he's going to get right within our DRS zone. I think Carl was using, well, the soft runner and the Haas behind us was using the ERS as well. So again, you can see some guys setting the fastest lap of the race. So it's about to turn into a 3 to 4 man DRS train. And at this point of the race, you're just trying to think, what should you do for the last lap? But the power of FY24 is that you can save the battery so easily, use it so easily. The ERS, the overtake button, and the DRS and slipstream are very, very powerful. So on previous games, it would be better to be the car behind. Some other games, it might be better to be the car in front. If you had a significant battery advantage, maybe even being in front. I think in this situation, if this is FY23, I probably wouldn't mind being the car in front because I'd have a lot more battery and have a better set of tyres than him. But I think it was very clear that Light didn't want to be leading going into Sarsat because he knew that I would just be overtaking him into turn 1 without using that much battery. So you'll see in this penultimate lap here, I was trying to bait him into overtaking me, but he wasn't taking the bait at all. And unless I slow down and play chicken with him with the DRS, there was nothing I could do here. That I can't force him to actually overtake me because I've got Carl 24 behind as well, and it's essential that I get points in him in this championship. So going into this last lap, I was trying to use my medium tyres just to propel myself a little bit of a gap, so I have no choice but to use all of this overtake going down here, which is not ideal because you ran out of the overtake, the deployment so quickly. So we're going to defend it to turn 1, and I was just hoping I had enough better tyres where I could create enough of a gap between him and the next ERS zone. So we're going to be not using the ERS a little bit here, but we've got to make sure that we're not running underneath at 10%, because if we go underneath 10%, you lose so much speed in a straight line. So I was desperately trying to recover the ERS here, trying to give ourselves up a gap, but he's still actually got quite a good little grip in those tyres, which I was pretty surprised with. I thought those tyres would be dropping off the cliff very quickly, but we've got the second DRS zone here, and DRS is very powerful in this game, so I have no choice but to use this overtake again. And at this point, I was frantically trying to stay in the lead, but then he manages to get past me, and I thought the race was over here. But you'll see going to this back straight, I'd probably get prepared to lower your headphone volume, and Carl has got past me now, and I thought this was absolutely it. But what Carl does is he goes down the inside, and what happens there? He pushes them both wide. We go down the inside, and both of them using the ERS, rest of it to the also line, and we have managed to somehow win this race. And yeah, that was an awesome race. I thought I lost it on that last lap. With the 2 laps to go, I was trying to get them to go past me, but yeah, I thought it was lost, and I would have been absolutely gutted if we won that race. Considering our pace in the qualifying, I was extremely happy with the race pace, and you'll see by the standings here, we've actually made big gains in the championship. But I really hope you enjoyed this race. Thank you so much for watching. I think with qualifying, we just need to drive a different style in order to be much faster in the qualifying. But in terms of the race and the pace there, I think if we can start high up on the grid, then we're going to have many more opportunities. So that's actually 2 wins in a row now, which I really wasn't expecting. So I'm really looking forward to the next race, which is actually tomorrow at 7 PM UK time. It's actually a 100% race at Suzuka as well. First time I've done 100% in a long time. So be sure to join me live for that. Also head over to www.coachlimitless.com if you want a one-to-one session to be to help you to get to your potential on the F1 games. Thank you so much. And I've also uploaded this setup to my Discord, my YouTube members only Discord. So if you hit that join button, become a YouTube member, you will get access to all my league racing setups here. But thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.